Welcome to the Agency Customer Success Podcast. I'm Ben Somerville, the host and co-founder here at Farsiight. And today I'm super excited to be joined by the one and only Kate Broad, or more affectionately known as Broadie around the office. It's just been over a year now since Kate Broad joined us here at Farsiight as our very first partner manager and first person in our customer success team. And since joining, she's brought a ton of innovation, new process, and great things to the way that we handle customer success here at Farsiight. Kate Broad, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ben.
Not a problem.
A lovely intro.
Not a worries. Before we get into it, Kate, I figured it'd be great for the audience to understand a bit about your background. Like, what were you doing before you came to Farsiight?
So I've been working client side for the last, I've been in the workforce for 22 years, Ben, if that's going to show my age.
That's almost my entire life.
In that time, I've had a number of really different varying roles. I worked in radio for a while. I worked out on an island on the Great Barrier Reef. I worked in a hospo for a really long time. And then I started working for the government in client service. So from that client service role, I gradually worked my way through into business development. And from business development, I was like, I want to try that marketing gig over there. So yeah, I was like working with the sales team and then realized that my strengths were probably better in marketing. And in terms of what I'm just interested in doing, I'm a creative person by nature. So marketing just made a lot of sense for me as a career progression. And here I am still, I think maybe in my 8th year of working in a marketing role. So yeah, absolutely loving it. Not going to change anytime soon.
How good. And it would be remiss if I didn't bring this up, but how did you actually come to work for us here at Farsiight?
That's a really good question. So I met Ben, it was a serendipitous meeting through a co-friend.
Yeah, big shout out to Eddie Ross if you're watching this.
Trademark, love your work. So I spoke to Ed. I was freelancing at the time for a really awesome bespoke architectural firm, and yeah, they were sort of, dabbling with the idea of running paid ads. They'd never done it before, and so I asked Ed, who was doing his digital marketing, because I was seeing his ads everywhere and they look fire, and he was like, you've got to talk to Ben Somerville from Farsiight. He will 100% hook you up, and I can vouch for him. So then I got on the phone with Ben. And I think what happened was I sent you an email and you didn't reply for like maybe 2 weeks, maybe.
I think I may have replied the first time, but maybe left you hanging after that.
We weren't a fit anyway, so I don't blame you now. But you got back and you're like, so sorry it's taken me so long to reply. We've been really under the pump, because it was a particular time of the year where it was crazy. And I was like, well, if you need extra hands on deck, like absolutely give me a shout. I'd love to work for an agency. Like always wanted to work for
Spotted a need based on how slow I was to respond.
And then you're like, yeah, we're hiring. So then you sent me the job ad, and yeah, I think the rest is history.
Definitely one of the coolest hiring stories we have in this agency. And you're right, the rest is definitely history. Like we've hired some incredible people in this agency over the past year, and you're definitely one of the people that I can say, like, I actually have no idea what we did before you came into the business.
Thank you. You honestly, when I walked into Farsiight, I was just like, this place is the frickin' best. Like, I thought that your processes, the systems, the staff that you had working here was fire. So I love that you've given me that, but I know when I walked in here, I was in a place that not only, was doing incredible work, but also had really amazing potential. So I was just so excited by it. I'm still so excited by it, a year and a bit later. And we had this chat yesterday, actually, walking out. You asked me, how many people were in the agency when I first started? And I was Farsighter number 7. And we've now got how many people?
20 with Lachlan joining us in a couple of weeks' time.
From 7 to 20 in a year and 4 months.
It's been a wild ride. And I appreciate you complimenting our processes back then. I mean, I think we were running implementations of spreadsheets at that point in time, so we've come a long way.
At least you had the spreadsheets though, Ben.
We did have the spreadsheets. Yeah. They made a good grounds for us to transport that into an actual project management tool. Which is probably like a good segue into talking about what I wanted to next, which is like, you've been in the role for a year now. This is the first time that you've been agency side. This is the first time that you've been in an account manager role, doing customer success. What have been like the biggest learnings that you've had since coming into Farsiight and taking on what was essentially a brand new role in the agency?
Yeah, it was pretty intimidating, to be honest. Like, having worked client side, and the way that, and the position that I had before was like a marketing manager position for a portfolio of departments. So they were sort of like my clients. So I applied that sort of, method of, client management to here. And basically, being client side, you are embedded in the business and you know everything about the business. My strength, and I kind of always said I was a one-trick pony back in government, because I was there for 13 years and I knew fundamentally how the business worked, and I knew how all of the different departments interacted with each other, and that was a really good strength for me in marketing, because I could easily identify if something was going to work, as a whole, like from a holistic perspective, rather than just having an idea and going for it. So when I came here, not knowing, like holistically who these businesses are, how their businesses work, that was intimidating to me, because I really like to know the full picture and feel like I'm a part of the business or an extension of the business. So I guess I sort of applied that mentality. Like I try to get to know my clients really well. I try to understand the business as best I can, understand their products, understand, what their challenges are, but not just, who they are as a business, but where they sit in the competitive, landscape. So we can make sure that whatever we're doing is competitive and we're positioning the brand in the best way we possibly can. So that's probably the biggest thing that I've taken, is just be an extension of the brand, be an extension of the business. And we can't know 100% everything about, the cogs and, all of the little minute details about our businesses. We're getting closer to that though. So yeah, it's really just trying to be an extension of the business instead of, being an agency person that you get in touch with every now and then. I want to be able to get on the phone with my clients and have a chat about the weather and the weekend, and also business as well. So it's been awesome. I have great clients, so I've got nothing to complain.
We are very lucky in that regard.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, but you're certainly right. It's like even for someone coming into our business today, it's a very overwhelming task stepping into a brand new agency, because it's not only the clients that you have to get used to, it's the people that you need to make connections with internally, it's the new processes that you have to understand, because whilst, yes, we specialise in performance marketing, everyone has a different way of doing it, and there's not necessarily just one way of going about it as well too. So there's been a lot for you to get your head around in a short period of time.
Definitely. There's been just immense learnings for me over the last year, immense, the biggest year of, personal and professional growth I think I've ever had to date. So that's, attributed to the agency that you've built, the people that you've brought in here, and just the mindset of testing everything. Doing what we know works well, but, not sort of putting all of our money on a particular strategy when we actually haven't tested anything yet. So we do have a test to scale framework. And I think just being able to have learnings across our different verticals about what's worked in those tests, but also being completely open to continue testing and scaling through testing is just, super exciting. I'd be very broke if I put any bets on creative I thought was going to crush over the last year.
I think we'd all be broke. Yeah, one of our clients has had a creative which has absolutely crushed, and it's literally a photo of a post-it note.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it? Yeah, we've had, one of our SaaS companies, one creative just absolutely crushing it, responsible for something like 80% of, the lead gen for that account over the last year. One creative out of, I don't even know how many creative tests we deployed. So yeah, we're always trying to find that one, yeah.
100%. And outside of the learnings, there's obviously been a huge amount of change in the agency. You mentioned before we've gone from a team of 7 to now a team of 20. Our customer success team has gone from just yourself to now a team of 3. And our processes and the way that we actually do business as an account management team has changed completely since day one as well too. Just today we were talking about some new things that we're looking to roll out. So can you talk to the audience about what has changed over the last 12 months in terms of the way that we're actually approaching the way that we handle account management for our partners?
Look, I honestly think it's just now we have time. We've got 3 of us and we can all put our 3 heads together and actually execute on things. And it's really exciting having both Thomas and Meg join the PM teams. They've both got agency experience. And so, I didn't really have anything to compare our like SOPs with in terms of, from an agency perspective. Like a lot of the SOPs that we built over the last year was just out of just sheer need of, needing to have something.
Build it, test it, and see how it goes.
Yeah. So it's really good to have different ideas coming into the mix now and just being like, hey, like we did it like this, in this way, and this worked well, and we did it like this. But yeah, I think a really powerful thing that we're going after this year is just like seeking customer feedback and reaching out to our customers and figuring out, like we get positive feedback. We read our clutch reviews and we're like, yeah, we're awesome, like we're crushing it for our clients. But we're not really asking them, or at least on a frequent enough basis, how are we going on these things and how can we improve these things? So just having that knowledge from them to inform and direct the decisions that we're making is going to be really powerful.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just about bringing a bit more of like a framework into the way that we're capturing that information from our clients when we're asking for it, and then documenting it as well too. Because to your point, like between yourself, Meg and Tom, and anyone else in the business, we're talking to our customers every day.
Yeah.
We're getting feedback, but we tend to always look on the good feedback, and what we probably need to improve as a business is the negative as well too. Because that can really spawn new processes, new way of doing things, or whatnot.
Definitely. Yeah, so we've definitely been able to review, like particularly with the creative process we've just rolled out for onboarding, where we're having like a creative deep dive with the client as a part of their like onboarding and implementation. So it's a separate, meeting and sort of like unpacking of what creatives are expecting and wanting from us as we are producing creative for them. Like that's just so sorely been needed. Sometimes brand guidelines just aren't enough.
Yeah, and brand guidelines date as well too. Like if you were to go and produce some creative for Farsiight right now based on all the assets that exist on the interwebs for us right now, I probably wouldn't be happy with the creative, because how we think about our brand, how we think about our messaging, how we want to present ourselves has changed so much, even I'd probably say in the last 3 months. So it is almost like a constantly evolving thing. So I think that's going to bring a lot of great change into the way that we're handling creative for sure.
Totally. Yeah, I think it's also going to boost our internal creative strategy sessions as well. Because, we'll get out of a call with a client, we're really fresh on, okay, they've given us ideas of what they really like, brands they really like a brand aesthetic or even ads that they really like, versus ones that they don't like. And so we're just brimming with all of these ideas about how we can apply, like, their sort of aspirational goals in terms of, their brand aesthetic and what they want their ads to look and sound and feel like. So then we get into our strategy sessions and it just rolls so smoothly from there, rather than us going like finger in the wind. Yeah. The brand guidelines are telling us, like 20% of the story here, and we need that other 80% really that can only come from client feedback and input. So yeah, super powerful.
100%. And what about from like a technology perspective? As I mentioned earlier, when we were talking, that we were quite literally running our new business implementations off spreadsheets when you came in. Like, how has the customer success team evolved from a technology standpoint? Like, we've obviously set up Monday.
I come from government, so what you had in place when I walked in the door was better than what I've ever experienced.
I don't know whether to take that as or not.
So like in terms of the tech stack already, the way that we do things by, we use Monday as a project management tool, which I was familiar with Monday, but the way that we use it, I think is so much more powerful. Like everything that we do is in Monday, which is, like a single source of truth.
Yeah, it's scary. It's become one of those pieces of technology, if they had some considerable downtime, that we'd be in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, so let's just hope that never happens. But yeah, so I guess the way that we've built our processes in Monday, and Monday's, put, a few new different features in beta, and they've, rolled out new features that have been really important for us to track like what work we do. But I think the most powerful thing that we've, sort of unrolled, is that a word?
Unrolled. We can roll with it. We can roll with it.
All right, unfurled this year. Unfurled is the onboarding process, and the onboarding process inside of Monday, and that process becoming part of the PM's part of our workload. So I really before we kick off a client, I'm able to see how much of the onboarding tasks that they've completed. So by day one, we know that we have everything that we could possibly find out about a client by the time we get on that kickoff call with them, and there's no fumbling the ball from day one, because they're on an agency retainer from day one. Like, we're managing ad accounts from day one. So if we don't have everything we need from that point, it's just like, oh, we can't do the things.
Do the job.
So yeah, I think it's just a much smoother process for us internally. Like, we know everything we possibly need to know about the client when we kick off, and yeah, like, they're paying for our full service fees, and they're getting that from day one because there's no fumbling from day one.
Yeah, I think like one of the biggest things is, like, as the agency's grown in headcount, our clients have also grown in numbers. The size of client that we're growing has grown as well too. So like, the amount of dependencies, the amount of things that are flying through the air in a given day in this agency are mind-blowing, and Monday just captures all of that for us. There's a task, there's an accountability, there's a due date. So I think without all of that, I think any agency would be in shambles, and it really does make me think how we kind of got to where we were when you arrived before, without any sort of system like that.
Are Monday going to pay us for this?
Yeah, we're not in any way. We're not sponsored by Monday. There's no code for a discount, unfortunately, just yet. But maybe we can hope to get sponsored by them, because it's truly an incredible tool that's changed the way that we do business in a massive, massive way.
I honestly think we could, like, pivot and become like a Monday project management company, or offer that as a side, like, offer. I don't know. That's something to think about.
We sat down and had a really exciting meeting as a customer success team last week, I think it was, or the week before, kind of mapping out this quarter strategic priorities and really thinking about, I guess there was two key things, and you've touched on one of them already, which is trying to get more feedback from our customers to execute against, to make what we're doing better. And then the second one is improving those touch points throughout the customer lifecycle journey. So can you talk about a few of the other initiatives that we have planned in the coming quarter to sort of execute against that as well too?
Yeah, so one of them is like implementing NPS software through Slack. So yeah, it's something that we wanted to do a while ago, and we just never got that survey out.
I think I'll be honest, I'll take the accountability for this. I've been scared to send it out.
Yeah.
I know our customers love us, but I'm sure that there's some that might be on the fence, whatever it might be. I think getting that feedback's hard, but it's necessary to improve as well too.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be one of those things, like many things we do in this business, that as soon as we do it, we'll kick ourselves for not doing it when you created that survey 12 months ago.
I honestly think, and because we as an agency live in Monday and live in Slack also is not paying us, but we love Slack. Should be. But having like an NPS tool feed into a Slack channel that is automated, so we're getting an NPS survey or result from our clients, and it's pinging that Slack channel. Like, we're all, just so wired for Slack updates that having that as a part of, a reminder of how we're doing on certain accounts, like in real time.
Yeah, at like key points throughout the journey as well too. So after onboarding, after implementation, after their first quarter as well too. So at every single point we can have a good understanding as to how we did in that, and then get feedback from the team who are executing against that client as well too, as to like, what can we do better? Because that's like I think that's a mission for us as a customer success team, is to make sure that every single touch point for our customers, be it the first time they talk to us as an agency, be it when they're onboarding, and if for whatever the reason they leave us as a partner as well too, that experience is awesome. That's our mission.
Yeah, totally. And I guess the other one is like QPRs and rolling that out, because as an agency, we work to a month-on-month reporting schedule. So monthly reports go out. That's comparing the data to the month prior. Obviously our reports, you can view them in a particular date range, so you can see how you've gone over a 6-month period or even a year period. So they have that functionality already, but what we haven't been doing is sort of comparing quarter to quarter, and that's often so much more insightful than comparing month to month. Like, if we were to compare November, December to last year, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, lead up to Christmas, to how January's performed for e-com, like, we've just seen conversion rates just like dive in January. So if you have a look at those reports on just a very high level, like, nothing looks great for e-com. But if we compare January this year to January last year, or just like Q1 to Q1 last year, you'll see that it's just all like the same or similar sorts of trends. But how can we be better prepared for that?
I think too, it gives an opportunity to reflect over the quarterly period in terms of like new initiatives that were tested and rolled out as well too. Not everything can be accomplished within a 4-week period. So any new initiatives that were executed within that given quarter is a great time to take pause and analyse how that went, and then start to map out exactly what the priorities are for that coming quarter as well too. And ongoing, I guess an ongoing struggle for us, or one that we want to get better at, is trying to get our brands more organised coming into sales periods as well too. We did way better last year than we did the year before, and I think this year, with a few of the things that we've got planned, like the calendar that you're building and a few other bits and pieces, hopefully we can make them more prepared than ever this year.
Yeah. So we've definitely, and I guess this is just a symptom of being in e-com. There's been like huge shipping delays for a lot of our e-com businesses. So that's pushed, launches back further. Dates change, things change. They might, conversion rate might be really bad in January 2022, and they're like, we're going to go on sale in March. And that'll, we have to be responsive to that. And there's always going to be that level of, just like ad hoc stuff that comes our way as an agency. But I think, just getting on top of, well, these are all the sales dates for the year. These are all the sales periods. These are the periods where we did the best or worst. For some of our, brands in e-commerce, that can vary greatly between Hemi. So obviously, winter and summer, they perform differently. So just being on top of all of those changes for them and knowing the sales periods, throughout those different geographies throughout the year, just put us in better stead, because we're getting better and better at building hype and building audiences over those periods.
That's the thing, it's not just about like us being able to effectively resource for them during these periods, but like you cannot run an effective sale by just going, tomorrow we're running 25% off. Like, that's not how sales work in D2C anymore. You can do that, but it will not be effective. The best brands that we saw in Black Friday, Cyber Monday this year, it was a strategy that was executed on over a 6-month period. I mean, I think LSKD were doing it 12 months out in terms of the planning, and it definitely reflected. If anyone was watching them execute on that sale over Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it was next level.
Know your channel return. Like if email's crushing for you, then the entire year you've got to put a concerted effort towards building your email lists and building your flows.
Which anyone should be right now with everything that's happened with third-party data. You mentioned earlier, Kate, that last year was a massive year of personal growth for you, and I guess working very closely with you, watching you from the sidelines, absolutely agree. Like, it's crazy to think about where you were coming into the business from, like your knowledge on performance marketing, I think your knowledge around creative strategy in a performance setting, and just, all around agency and customer success skills have just gone.
Why did you hire me?
We hire for culture fit, we hire for character fit. And it's a really good question, because we hired prolifically for the role, and it literally for 3 months, Josh and I were I think interviewed 15 people before we hired yourself. I don't know, you came into the office, we sat down and we had a chat for an hour and a half just like this, and we just knew it was the right fit. So that was why we hired you. But the question I wanted to ask was, this year, like, what's the big focus for you in personal growth? Outside of the stuff that, like osmosis, that's just going to happen by being in the seat, like, what are you actually planning on doing for your own personal growth this year?
I want to get like Google Ads certified this year. So I freaking love Google Ads. Like, you may not know this about me, because
I had you pinned as a social one.
Well, I'm doing a lot like with my socials clients, because they need a lot of creative, particularly e-com. So there's always a lot of work there. But in terms of the way that our PPC managers think, and the way that they go about their day-to-day tasks, and just the mindset that they have, it is just constantly inspiring for me. Yeah, they're incredible.
Truly analytical minds, the way they go about it.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think I am that by nature. Like, I'm not a data nerd. Like, I'm definitely, like, I love data, but it's only when I can make like immediate sense of it, and I can go, oh, that means that, and that means that. Sometimes when I talk to the PPC managers, it sounds like they're speaking another language. And it's like, it's not like I don't understand all of it. I think it's almost as if, when you go to another country and you dabble in the language. I'm a tourist. I'm a PPC tourist. I'm a Google Ads tourist. I've learnt the basics. I've learnt to say like, hello, goodbye.
You can find a restaurant, you can get back to your hotel. But by no means go into a bar and having a fluent conversation with one of the locals.
Yes. So I want to be fluent, is what I'm saying.
Love it.
So yeah, that's the plan. And maybe one day when I grow up, I'll be a PPC manager.
And I guess finally, the last question I want to know, like anyone at the start we heard the sort of story is you've come from working almost exclusively in-house and brand side your whole career, you've made the jump, you've come to agency side and you're loving it. What advice would you give to anyone who's listening to this that's thinking about or flirting with the idea of making the change, if you will?
Get out now. I honestly, it's fulfilled all of the things that I hoped that it would for me. I was just incredibly frustrated not knowing why I was doing certain things as a marketer, and not being performance focused. Like I want to know exactly the outcome of, my output. And yeah, not having like a clear line of sight to that for a number of years has been really, really frustrating. And it's funny because, there was a couple of business development managers that I worked with over the years that were also frustrated with that component of marketing within the business. And that sort of started to grow more and more within myself as we were, spending like bucket loads of money on like out of home advertising, bus stops and, billboards and, just like letterbox drops and stuff like that. And it was just, you never could really attribute the value that you were adding to the business. So you could never take any learnings and then, and learn from that and make it better. So yeah, that was just incredibly frustrating. I wanted to be a better marketer, and the only way you can be a better marketer is if you act on the data and you test. So yeah, that's exactly what we do.
Good summary. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking about coming agency side, what you're saying is absolutely do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't think.
Do it right now. In fact, if you're gonna join an agency, you should join Farsiight. We're hiring for a number of roles and we'll be all year, so reach out. And on that note, that's probably everything we had today, wasn't it, Kate?
I think that's all.
This was the very first episode of the Agency Customer Success Podcast, where myself, Kate, Meg, and Thomas, who you'll meet very soon, will be bringing you tips, tricks, strategies, learnings, and failures that we make along the way as we build our agency here at Farsiight. If you've enjoyed our content and you want to listen to more, why don't you go ahead and
like and subscribe.
subscribe.